This is Susanna Magenheimer, Random Artist 222, and today I'm doing what I'm calling a deconstructed journal flip through. This is a journal that's going to be representing what I created during Gypsy 999, aka Tammy's ICAD, Index Card a Day 2021, which I do every year. It's a great community. I met a lot of great people this year again. And I thank Tammy very much because it made 2 months of cancer treatment go like a blink, which is a very hard thing to do. So there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm going to do this. They're all posted up on my Instagram, this in terms of the order that I'm going to go through. I'm going to explain a few of them, what I did. And I thought that would make the video more interesting. This one here is one of the last ones I did for ICAD. And I got a lot of requests to show how, and there'll be a video coming on Wednesday, but I'm going to make that the cover of my journal. And you'll see the finished product in the Wednesday video because I have it in there and completed. So let's get started. This one is a very simple but effective technique. Basically, I just created a background with sprays, and then I used little transfers, you know, with the little popsicle sticks. And I just went no rhyme or reason how I did it. And the beautiful thing about when you have a background like that is you can kind of look beyond what's in there and create what you want. So in this case, I wanted vases and a flower. So I created the shape of the vase. Actually, I used an Altenew mask to create the vase shape since I had a very nice collection of them. But I added some charcoal here to give some dimension. And it packs a lot of pow for the technique that it is. I love this technique. This one was I keep on trying, even though my wings are broken. Just a little bit of a journaling piece of how I'm feeling right now. I'm just plugging along, keep on swimming, whatever the statement is. But I love these little butterflies. I love these little random wings that came from Retro Cafe Arts collection. So that's a little collage piece. Die cuts are so effective in art. I have no problem using them. I loved using my gel print collection that I've just been saving for reasons like this. And I went ahead and rebuilt and re-puzzle pieced back the wings together. It's a Sizzix die. And the background is Ray Mizigman's stencils, mini stencils, which I love through Stencil Girl. This one was just a simple collage piece, just some washi tapes and different little journaling pieces. And my favorite thing in this world, next to my husband, these little chickadees. I have one that actually comes in my backyard and feeds from my hand and just makes my life better. Okay. You'll notice on the back of these two as I'm flipping through is I put these index cards, I glue them onto stencil board. It just gives it a little more heft to the substrate. It doesn't need to happen. And, but I find that it's more effective for me. Here's another little collage piece I did with a parrot, Protect Your Essence. This one is actually what I call my ghosting texture paste technique, which is basically just using a paper towel with some texture paste on it, rubbing it along the stencil till I just get the very slightest of ridges on here. Definitely, if you felt it, you would feel the ridges. And it's just enough of a ridge to collect the paint. And I love that technique. It's something I played with and came up on my own. This one's Don't Regret, the paths not taken. And again, the colors in the background here are 4, and they come from the new Paper Artsy release. I love these colors. This was the violets prompt, and these are hand-drawn, and I just put it in a little frame. Doesn't always have to be super duper, lots of stuff going on. Here's the ghosting technique again with the texture paste for the seashells. By doing it so thin, but you still get the texture, it allows you to put stuff on it without getting that wobbly effect. But I love the ocean, and this is what this reflected. Then this is one that is a stencil that I designed. It's a tropical stencil through That's Crafty. And I just went ahead and outlined my stencil, and then I doodled within it some Zentangly goodness. And I went with a manila background for once or twice. This is a key embossing folder that I've had for the longest time. It's an effective folder. I love these keys. And basically I just covered it in foil, sanded back some of the foil, and then added some color with my finger, just very lightly, almost like dry brushing, they call it, where you just have enough to create color, but not, intensely goop it on there. This is another just a little journaling collage piece I did, Journey, Imagine, Believe. And here's one again that I did as a doodle. And this is what I did with what I call craft overs. So when I'm done painting, I take an index card every time and I smoosh it around, do whatever it takes. And I pick up all the colors. And then later on, when I don't know what I want to do and I have a mental block or whatever you want to call it, I come back to these cards and I just start outlining them and seeing what comes out of it. And in this case, there was a vine prompt. And these are the vines that I doodled out. I have a huge love for pointillism. If you look through my page, I have tons of it. It's very time consuming, so I don't do it as much anymore. I used to do very large pieces, but this brought me back to it, and I remember now why I loved it so much. So that'll remind me. And I'm waiting for fall, my favorite season. This one was a typography prompt, and again, this piece here is the technique I show here, how I create this. It's not with clay, it's not with anything that you'd imagine, and it's very, very practical and fun to do. This is one I had fun doodling. It was Margarita, the prompt, and I just felt like cactuses, so I did some cactus all throughout it. So just be careful how you sip that straw. That'll hurt. This is a spotlighting technique, and that's basically where the background is monochrome, usually black, and the inside is colored up. So you have this circle and obviously spotlighting the color. And in this case, I used the stencil mask. Well, I call it the stencil mask. It's the leftovers after you've popped out the wings from a stencil cutout die cut. You are left with these shapes that are wings, and I use those to create the wings, and then I drew in the little veins. Here's another one I did with craft overs that came to me as a meadow with a little stream going through it, and I just went to town doodling. I forgot how fun doodling can be. This is a macroscopic take on Dahlia that my friend Amy let me use her photos, and had fun doing that. This one is, again, my love of oceans and a time when I was having a hard time with my infusions. Can a sandcastle survive a storm? The clouds are basically just torn paper. You don't have to buy those fancy stencils. Just tear paper up so that you get little ridges, and then just take a color and, just alternate your waves so that they're not all looking the same. And you get that really cool effect. I'll close up in on that. But this here is just texture paste that's been colored, and I created a sandcastle doing that. This is another stencil of mine through That's Crafty, which is also sold in the USA through Frantic Stamper. And they're my angelfish. I love angelfish. But this was the thread prompt, and I used eyelash thread in the background, and it reminded me of kelp. So I pulled out the angelfish stencil and just very, again, ghosted. That's why you can see it through the fins. The paste. This is a gel print that I had for the longest time. I really loved how this is. These are real leaves that I used. I loved it, but I felt I had to use it. And I actually cut out part of the gel print to create another dimension on top of the print itself, and then used my soft charcoal pencil to get that nice little shading on the bottom, which is sometimes the difference between blah and wow, that looks really cool. This one is Dream a Little Dream, and this one's done with German damask, and or scrap they call it, and it basically started out as a brilliant gold, and I just used different waxes and created a patina to make it look more gothic-y and aged. Again, another doodle. And this one I had as a background, and I added Paper Artsy's resting powder. Easiest resting technique there is out there. You just sprinkle her powder on, add a little white vinegar. The smell dissipates, and it rusts like within minutes. Well, within a few minutes, and it stays on. You don't have to put a fixative. I love it. So that's what I did there. And then there was an umbrella tech prompt, and I just drew umbrellas. And then I got a lot of likes on this one. And this is done with Copic marker. And I am a Copic fan. I am not a Copic professional. I don't profess to be, but this one turned out really cool. And I really got that pretzel look. And I basically did this with 3 colors. And the secret to me with Copic is finding a very light shade, a very medium shade, and a very dark shade. Having a swatch of your Copics that you might have is a great help because you can kind of visualize it. I saw this color in my chart. I saw the dark color in my chart, etc. And the trick is to start with the light, the very lightest, so that it kind of what I call moistens it. And then you can add the medium tone and then the dark tone. But the secret also is practicing not on your final project that you just maybe hand drew. You want to make sure that those 3 play together well, because a lot of times one color, especially the lighter one, will start to pull color away from the darker one to the point where it's like erasing it. And you don't want that. You want something that'll mix in and create its own little blend. So play around with, if you have Copics, that's how I do it. And that's how I play around with it. And that's how I get my effects. And again, I just shaded it. This one was Snow Globe. And again, dyes are so effective for techniques. This is actually, you can see if I turn it sideways, acrylic sheet. And I show in my videos on YouTube how I created the effect in this. Not necessarily the snow globe, but in using another scenario, but it's the same technique. And I just put in a few snowflake dyes and I got a really nice holiday card going there. And this was my intro card, ICAD 2021. Again, ICAD, if you can do it next year, it's always June and July. And it's always fun. You always can meet a ton of new people. And it's been a way I introduced myself to the community many years ago, and I still do it every year. So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to subscribe and like, and hope you have a great day.